Kerala, in India. Najib, a young man who recently got married, is employed as a laborer. While he is carrying out his daily work duties, he learns from his colleague that one of his family members has returned from Saudi Arabia and is earning a living by working there. Najib is interested in going abroad, Middle East, to work and make a good living for his family. Najib's friend Kochamini transports him to his brother Srikumar, who has recently come back from his work in Saudi Arabia. Najib brings money with him to give to Srikumar to assist him in finding work in the Middle East. After Najib gives the money, he asks Srikumar if he will lose the money, which Srikumar assures Najib, "I would never take your money if your friend had not forced me to help you." After obtaining the visa, Najib gets home to his beautiful wife Sainu and his mother, where he intends to enjoy the biryani prepared by his mother before his flight. A few hours later, Najib is accompanied by his wife and mother to the train station, promising his wife that he will contact her once he arrives in Saudi. As the train pulls in, Najib boards and meets Hakim on the train, as they were both traveling from their shared neighborhood to the same destination. Najib bids a heartfelt farewell to his beloved wife as the train goes away. Upon arrival at the Saudi airport, Najib is questioned about his profession by the Saudi officer at the port of entry. However, it appears that Najib only speaks Hindi. His friend Hakim steps in to assist, stating that they are both helpers, which enables him to receive the entry stamp. Najib and Hakim observed a group of Sri Lankan workers being transported by a bus. After waiting for some time for their sponsor to arrive, they encountered an Indian man who assisted them in calling their sponsor. However, the number kept ringing without any response. The Indian man explained that it is a Friday, making it the weekend in Saudi Arabia. It is getting late, and they step outside only to find that no one is coming for them. After a while, Najib spots an old Arab man, Kafil, through the glass. The man appears to be coming for them, and he approaches Najib, asking if he is Abdallah. He continues to inquire about their names, and later, the old man takes their passports and instructs them to come with him. He loads their luggage onto the back of his car and tells them to sit in the back while getting on the truck. They questioned themselves and said why their sponsor was transporting them this type of truck, while they observed that the Sri Lankan workers were being transported in an air-conditioned bus. After a lengthy journey, Hakim falls asleep in the back of the truck. Kafil transports them to the heart of the desert. Upon waking up, Hakim is shocked to find himself in the desert. Kafil instructs them to exit the vehicle, but they do not understand why they have been brought there. Kafil takes Hakim to his brother's place, where Najib informs Kafil that he was supposed to be with Hakim. Kafil then takes Najib and drives to a different location, instructing his nephew Jasir to keep Najib there, and they will discuss what to do with him the following day. Najib is once again shocked and asks Jasir if he can call home, to which Jasir replies that he can do so tomorrow. Najib encountered an elderly Indian man at the location and inquired about a place to sleep. The old man simply replied, "Sleep wherever." Later, Najib settled in the tent with Jasir, only to be abruptly ejected by Jasir while he was asleep, instructing him to sleep outdoors instead. In the morning, Najib comes to the elderly man, and the old man gives Najib a jug of milk to deliver to Jasir, the guardian. However, Najib mistakenly drinks the milk, prompting the old man to intervene and instruct him to take it to the Arab man, Jasir, in the tent. Najib then proceeds to deliver the milk to Jasir. Shortly after, Kafil appeared, and Najib hurriedly approached him with his nephew Jasir. Najib explained that he had mortgaged his house to come to Saudi Arabia for work, showing them a notebook with company numbers. However, Kafil snatched the notebook and instructed Najib to start working immediately. Subsequently, the water delivery person arrives, and Najib inquires about the road, but Kafil steps in and questions the water driver about his conversation with his employee. The waterman denies saying anything to Najib. Kafil then begins to beat Najib with his rope until Najib stops him but gets angrier. He retrieves his rifle and warns Najib that any further action will result in dire consequences. During the evening, Najib asked an elderly Indian man who had been there before him how long he had been there. The man replied, "When you arrive here, there is no way out," which led Najib to believe that leaving would not be easy. The following day, Jasir calls out to Najib, instructing him to start working and take care of the goats and sheep from today. Najib noticed that the old Indian man was not there and wondered what had happened to him. After spending a year in the desert, Najib wept silently to himself, lamenting, "I have lost track of time. The days blur together, feeling unwell and exhausted, uncertain of when this will end." Later, he stumbled upon a flock of vultures feasting on something, only to discover the corpse of his old Indian friend being devoured by the scavengers. The following day, Najib attempts to escape, but is soon discovered by Kafil. Kafil pursues him on camelback and nearly kills him. After Najib gives in, Kafil beats him and injures his legs to ensure he cannot flee again. The following year, Najib leads the sheep as he always does. Suddenly, a heavy rain mixed with ice begins to fall, prompting Najib to seek shelter in a nearby cave. While there, Najib hears someone singing. He ventures further into the cave and spots a man in the distance. As he approaches, he realizes it is Hakim, who is in a similar predicament and appears to be in poor condition. They embrace and weep together, sharing their stories of suffering. Soon after, Hakim's boss arrives and takes him away. Continuously, Najib's health deteriorates as a result of the difficult living conditions. While Najib is leading the camels, he spots Hakim in the distance. Hakim leaves a letter on the ground for him, and the letter says, "Dear Najib, I have an African man named Ibrahim who works with me. He has the knowledge of the route, and together we can make our escape." Najib meets Hakim and Ibrahim, and when Ibrahim suggested they have to escape, Najib was incredulous. That night, Kafir prepared a dinner for his daughter's wedding, with the actual celebration scheduled for the following day. The next day, Jasir gave Najib a piece of bread and instructed him to look after the place while they attended the wedding party. After they left, Najib bathed and fed the animals, and then his friends arrived, and they made their escape. During the initial night of their escape, Hakim appears to be thirsty, and the following day his condition worsens as they endure the scorching heat of the desert with no shelter in sight. Spotting what seems to be water in the distance, they realize upon reaching it that it was heat hallucinations, leading to a loss of hope among the group as they struggle to survive and remain directionless. While in prayer, Ibrahim notices a group of rattlesnakes approaching, prompting him to swiftly move Hakim away from the danger and instructing Najib to stay still. By the third day without water, their situation deteriorated further, with Najib's feet swelling and Hakim succumbing to the harsh conditions of the desert, ultimately losing his life. On the fourth day in the desert, they discover a water source and drink from it. The next day, Najib wakes up to find Ibrahim missing, leaving him alone in the desert. He drinks the last of the water and sets out, eventually reaching a street road where he seeks help. A rich man named Akef Najam stops for him and transports him to town, where he is found by other Indians who take him to the barber and shave his hair. And they also find his family's contact information. After 3 years of no contact, Najib talks to his wife and hears their son's voice over the phone. However, he is arrested for not having papers in the country and is taken to prison. While there, an Arab sponsor claims another prisoner as an escapee and takes them back. Witnessing that, Najib sees Kafil arriving, and he pictures Kafil beating and taking him back, but Kafil is unable to prove his claim. The movie ends with Najib boarding a plane back to India,